On October 14, 1066, at the Battle of Hastings, William, Duke of Normandy, stood victorious after Harold Godwinson was killed. But his hold on England was still legally and politically fragile. The royal household, the earls and the Witan, remained loyal to the Anglo-Saxon succession, and Edgar Atheling still stood as a rallying point for resistance. William had to turn battlefield victory into recognized authority, win the church's blessing, secure London's allegiance, and neutralize rival claimants before winter let the resistance harden. A quick coronation would force nobles into oaths and ceremony, give the church and the people a clear sign of legitimacy, and convert conquest into lawful kingship. On December 25, 1066, William I chose Westminster Abbey for his coronation in a move as much about calculation as ceremony. Christmastide brought bishops, earls, and retainers to London, guaranteeing a broad congregation he could present as consenting to his rule. Subscribe. Maybe it would have made the oath stick. At venerable Westminster, Archbishop Ealdred of York placed the crown on William's head. The abbey's links to King Edward the Confessor and long royal ritual gave the moment an aura of continuity. By choosing Christmas Day, William framed the conquest as a restoration under divine sanction rather than simple usurpation, tying military victory to sacrament and custom. Contemporary chroniclers, including William of Poitiers and the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, record the spectacle and its role in extracting oaths of fealty. With the crown secured, William still faced the harder task of turning ceremonial legitimacy into effective administrative control. Norman clerics like William of Poitiers present the coronation as a glorious, divinely sanctioned event, a triumphant Te Deum, sacred rites in venerable Westminster Abbey on December 25, 1066, and Archbishop Ealdred of York placing the crown on William's head as a sign of ecclesiastical approval. English annals, especially the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, record the same date and place but use sterner, more ambivalent language that stresses compelled homage, reluctant consent, and the haste of the ritual. The stark contrast between celebratory Norman chronicles and the terse English records reveals competing versions of the past. The Normans amplified sanctity to justify conquest, while the English preserved memories of coercion and dispossession. Ealdred's pivotal act, bridging North and South church authority, became a fulcrum for both narratives, and those divergent accounts foreshadow the administrative quarrels and resistance Act III will confront, as well as the course of later Norman reform. William's December 25, 1066 coronation at Westminster gave him a gilded legitimacy, but it immediately collided with raw resistance. Edgar Atheling remained a rallying claimant to the throne, and Londoners and shire magnates submitted only reluctantly, a point the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records as uneasy, compelled homage. Within months, uprisings and localized revolts swept the shires, notable disturbances in 1067-69, and the severe Northumbrian rebellions that provoked William's punitive campaign of 1069-70, the harrying of the North. To turn ceremonial victory into real control, William launched a rigorous program of motte and bailey castles, permanent garrisons, and royal strongpoints, installing trusted Norman lieutenants like Odo of Bayeux and William Fitzosborne to command lands and men. The tension between sacred crown and blunt steel was stark. Coronation had given him the throne, but only force, fortification, and strategic appointments secured obedience and helped push England toward an austere Anglo-Norman order. On December 25, 1066, in the venerable nave of Westminster Abbey, Archbishop Ealdred of York anointed William, Duke of Normandy, with holy oil and placed a crown on his head. That sacramental act helped turn a military conquest into accepted kingship. Contemporary accounts back it up. William of Poitiers records a triumphant Te Deum and full ceremonial liturgy, while the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle marks the same date, notes the compelled oaths of homage, and both emphasize the public acclamation that followed. Bishops and earls swore fealty, and that visible consecration gave William the spiritual and legal authority he needed to enforce his rule through castles and Norman lieutenants like Odo of Bayeux. William's Christmas Day coronation in 1066 did not just put a new king on the throne. It accelerated the Normanization of the English church and aristocracy, kicked off a systematic redistribution of land under feudal rules, and unleashed an era of motte and bailey castles and written royal administration that remade governance. The ceremony's sacred sanction cemented William's claim in medieval memory and provided a recurring template for royal legitimacy in England, a fusion of liturgy, law, and force whose consequences shaped the monarchy for centuries.